Russia is now about to go through the largest, probably the most massive mobilization ever, simply because there are no people left in Russia. On Boosty, I posted a short video about what exactly this will mean for the land. That is, the land itself will move. There will be waves, huge tsunamis. There will be enormous winds. What kind of weather will there be and where? Yes, well, how can we even understand what it will be like? It's clear that in the north, it seems like warming is expected. In places like Chukotka, the Magadan region, Kamchatka, right? But Kamchatka will be moved closer to Russia or to Japan. Or Japan will be moved closer to Kamchatka. Most likely, Japan will be moved closer to Kamchatka. Behind the scenes at the Ministry of Defense, there is panic and anxiety. You know, it seems we really are heading toward, we are already very close to a third world war, one that will definitely mean war for all countries. Today, some are participating, some are not yet. By the way, Switzerland has started to discuss internally to raise questions about actual neutrality, as it has always been in the world. That is happening now as well. Such debates are emerging, and this will probably be the reason when the country votes on something again. But I'll talk about that later. And now the military are saying that for Moscow, Washington, and the capitals of Europe, it has become normal to discuss not just threats, but the real possibility of a direct military confrontation between Russia and NATO. Well, how else could it be, friends? They need to provoke a clash because it's money. Money for all the military, for all the factories. It's big money. So this is a real threat to all of us, to all of humanity. Some will make money, they'll survive, but maybe they don't even live here anymore. As I told you, many very high-ranking, very wealthy people, those who have a lot of money, have left. They were allowed to leave for places where they will survive, truly survive. That is, land that won't be subjected to bombings or upheavals. A very important point. I want to point out that first there will be bombings, and then something will happen that's hard to even describe. I don't know what to call it. On Boosty, I posted a short video about what exactly will happen to the Earth. That is, the Earth itself will shift, there will be waves, huge tsunamis, and massive winds. What kind of weather will there be and where? Yes, well, how can we even understand what it will be like? Clearly, it seems like there will be warming in the north. In places like Chukotka, the Magadan region, Kamchatka, right? But Kamchatka will be moved closer to Russia or to Japan. Or Japan will be moved closer to Kamchatka. Most likely Japan will be moved closer to Kamchatka. Land masses move too. They know how to move them. And this has already happened once on our Earth. That is, the land masses used to move. Where there are rivers, there may have been some ruptures. You know, when you see a river from one sea to another, right, it goes across the whole continent. This is the place where perhaps the layers of the Earth shifted. It seems impossible, friends. But just because it seems that way to us, many of us uneducated people, well, who knows what seems possible. In reality, all of this has happened before, and it is something that those of us who survive will have to go through again. Because, of course, many people will die during this time. So, friends, if we look at the USA and Europe, we see similar situations. Military spending is rising sharply. NATO is accelerating the establishment of bases in the Baltic countries, Poland and Romania, and mobilization plans already include volunteers. In large numbers, as they should be. But where are these volunteers? Who wants to go? If it's a career military person, then maybe yes. But ordinary people are unlikely to go. But they're already being included. So it means people will somehow be forced to go to war. The conflict in Ukraine. Still, friends, this is a foreign conflict that doesn't affect the whole world. This is, let's say, the beginning, something they'll latch onto, like when, remember, Poland was divided by Russia and Germany? The year 1939. Poland was attacked from both sides. After all, when did people start calling the Germans fascists? Fascists. Friends, 1939? September the month. Russia and Germany, fascist Germany. And fascist communism was considered a thing. The fascist Soviet Union and fascist Germany. That's how it was seen back then. All the caricatures depicted Hitler and Stalin. They even drew Stalin in a wedding dress. They walk across Europe with a bouquet of flowers, marching along. You see, communism was also considered fascist. Back then, in 1939, 1940. But in 1941, suddenly, Russia started saying that everything had to be different. Our people's mentality, on the contrary, was supposed to bite into fascism, to gnaw at fascism. Just like that, everything in our heads was turned upside down. We had just been friends with the Ukrainians, and then suddenly we were supposed to say that Ukrainians were the worst. I'm talking about Russia. Now you can't even sing Verka Serduchka's songs at weddings anymore. They're lively songs, but you're not allowed to sing them. If you do, it means you're considered an extremist. And you can be thrown in jail for it. That's what happened. At one wedding, a guy was taken away. Verka Serduchka was being played there. Well, I mean, the music, of course. They played the wrong music. And off to war. He didn't even get a chance to marry his wife. So, escalation. We're being told today that, of course, the elites are leading the government. They're putting pressure on the government, pushing for factories to ramp up production, especially metal working plants, the ones that make tanks, the ones that make airplanes. And the elites now have no desire to restrain the escalation. Russia is now about to go through an enormous, probably the largest mobilization ever, because there are hardly any people left in Russia. And Russia will have to go through this massive mobilization, an arms race that the whole world is experiencing right now as well. Every country is preparing for such a war. In Switzerland, planes are flying, fighter jets are flying, airfields are being prepared, and additional hangars for small planes are being built at the airfields. Now, why would Switzerland need huge planes? They're not planning to use those planes to transport people, right? The leadership of the wealthy can be moved on small planes. But as for the ordinary population, they will stay behind. Or everyone will go into bunkers which are located in the mountains. There are 300,000 bunkers in Switzerland. And Switzerland is small. 300,000 bunkers. But if you go out in Moscow, you wouldn't even know which way to run to get to a bunker. As for friends, a real war, the question now is only this. When will this conflict begin? How will it start? Will it be that Russia attacks Poland like it happened in 1939 when Poland became small, though it used to be big? Germany took a piece, Russia took a piece. Poland had the city of Brest, which Russians always considered their own. This was the border that had to be crossed once upon a time. So, the city of Brest was always Polish, but then it became Soviet. When I was a diplomat crossing through Brest in the 70s, I didn't know it was a Polish city. That's how we were taught history. That's how they filled our heads. With Marxism, Leninism, scientific communism. What did that give us? We spent our whole lives on useless sciences. Learn to separate the wheat from the chaff. At least for now. Today, November 23rd, 2025. I am Tanya Karatsuba Sidburkan.